My name is Akihiko DC Nada, and this is how I fell in love with DC Comics.
Take a telegram.
As a young kid, I was very easily impressionable and entertained by just about everything. Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, The Walking Dead, all examples of things shown to me as a kid that stuck with me my entire life and that have helped shape my taste in media. She had seen the original Batman films with Michael Keaton and the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, but she didn't show them to me. That was until my dad did one simple thing. He told me that Batman was cool. That was it. There was no special game, no special movie, or even a special action figure that got me hooked into DC. Just my dad simply telling me he was cool. Next thing I know, he takes me to Walmart, and I beg him to get me a little Batman figure. And, naturally, when he mentions the Spider-Man one, I respond by saying, Spider-Man is a sissy, I want the Batman. From here on, my obsessions only grew. I dressed as Batman that Halloween, I got a plaque with my name on it with Christian Bale's Batman and Batmobile. I even got the old Batman Begins game on the PS2 and put plenty of hours into it. At my mom's house, we had no Wi-Fi, so I would play movies on our PS2, mostly the old Joel Schumacher Batman films. And when I wasn't doing that, I was watching the old Justice League cartoon, which I grew even more obsessed with. And as a kid, seeing all these superheroes teaming up, going on various adventures, it blew my mind. I laughed endlessly at the Flash's jokes. I admired Superman for his leadership, thought Jon Stewart's stoic nature made him absolutely awesome, and loved Martian Manhunter's power sets. I also may have had the tiniest crushes on Hawkgirl and Wonder Woman. In all seriousness, I found Wonder Woman's relationship with Batman and Bruce Wayne very interesting in the show, and to this day, I still kind of enjoy them as a pair. And Hawkgirl, I also really enjoyed, especially her cool mace, which as a kid I really wanted one. There was also an episode where Copperhead said, Hasta la vista, and I would repeat that constantly in school for no other reason that I thought it sounded cool. Going into 2010 and 2012, I slowed down a lot on my DC obsession as my relationship with my father got worse and worse before we eventually completely grew apart. Me and my brother would play Lego Batman and Lego Batman 2 together on the Wii, but even that was sporadic at best. However, in 2013, I got my first PS3, and with that, my mom got me Batman Arkham City Game of the Year Edition to go along with it. I remember being so excited to play as Batman that I literally skipped every cutscene on my first playthrough just to get the gameplay sections. Yes, I was that kid. I'm not proud of it either. On my second playthrough, however, I watched all the cutscenes, and to this day, spoiler alert, Joker's death at the end of Arkham City still gives me chills, and will stick with me as an all-time favorite video game moment forever. Then, for Christmas in 2013, I got Batman Arkham Origins, and was immediately disappointed that Batman and Joker were played by different people. But alas, I pushed through, and ended up really enjoying the game, though not nearly as much as City. I would go on to replay those games several more times in early 2014 before once again falling off the DC bandwagon for a few months until early 2015 when as a 13-year-old boy I watched one of my favorite movies of all time for the first time, and that being Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight.
Never start with the head. The victim gets all fuzzy. You can't feel the neck. See? You wanted me. Here I am.
Even as a 13-year-old kid, I was completely enamored by Heath Ledger's legendary Joker performance, and proceeded to watch the movie many, many more times, though for some reason, never thought about checking out its predecessor or sequel until many, many years later, when me and my brother did a full watch-through of every Batman movie. Throughout 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019, I would rewatch a lot of DC stuff I loved as a child, but I didn't really check out anything new. No new comics, no new shows, no new movies, no new nothing. Then, in 2020, I found out that the Batman game I loved as a kid, Arkham City, had both a follow-up in Arkham Knight and a predecessor in Arkham Asylum, to which I finally played both of those. Arkham Knight, I really enjoyed the updated combat and graphics, but felt slightly disappointed by the storyline. Arkham Asylum, however, I absolutely loved, and it grew to be my second favorite Arkham game at the time. Me and my brother started a DCU watch through in early 2023, and to my surprise, I really enjoyed a lot of it. Zack Snyder made me care about Superman again, as I thought he was too invincible, nothing could hurt him, and I didn't see the appeal. However, Man of Steel really opened my eyes to what people loved about Superman. It's the humanity behind the god. Then, Batman v Superman I went into way more skeptically. Batman was my favorite superhero, and I was incredibly worried going into it, but I grew to absolutely love Ben Affleck as Batman, and his less than traditional take on the character. Wonder Woman was a character I always enjoyed, but her movie made me enjoy her and Steve Trevor so much more. Justice League was where I really started to see what they meant by this being a mess. It took all of the interesting things I enjoyed in the previous movies and stripped them away in a soulless and downright gross cash grab. Most of the other films were pretty average to downright bad, with the only exceptions being Aquaman, Shazam, and both of the James Gunn films, which I personally really love, despite adding to the notion that this is very disconnected. Now, after finishing all of those, we arrived at the Snyder Cut, which I was beyond excited for, and absolutely was not disappointed. It was everything I wanted in a live-action superhero movie since my childhood. A movie that brought together all my favorite heroes in a true epic. Everyone got their time to shine, their moment, and to a kid like me who grew up with these characters, it quickly became my personal favorite comic book movie of all time. Throughout 2023, I've also been diving into a lot of iconic comics such as All-Star Superman, The Dark Knight Returns, Flashpoint, Flash Rebirth, Deceased, Injustice, and many more. The heroes of the DC universe are, in my opinion, some of the best in Western comics, and with the proper adaptation, I'm confident that the mainstream audience will love this brand half as much as I do. Currently, I'm in the middle of a project with my brother and a mutual friend of ours to write our own DC universe and stories, and we are having a blast. These characters have meant so much to us since a young age, and that's really what I wanted to come on here and say. The DC fandom is as divided as ever, and I hope that a good, well-run cinematic universe can help unite the fandom, because at the end of the day, we are all DC fans.